Very good morning to you. Tell us more about these tweets about birth control, saying that Uyghur women are no longer baby-making machines.
Thanks for having me. Good morning. I believe the tweet by the Chinese embassy and the cited article published by China Daily are very useful and helpful for us to understand what is happening, what might be happening in the region, as well as what the Chinese authorities think of the entire ethnic group. I find it quite ironic that they think they are emancipating the minds of Uyghur women by stripping of their most fundamental rights and freedoms, making their own reproductive choices, for merely choosing having a large family. At first they were denying the drop in growth rate of Uyghur population, but now they are admitting it with statistical figures. Also, the tweet says that Uyghur women are now more confident and independent, and yet we see that the very same women are often not allowed to leave the country, and those who live abroad are pressured to go back to China. I think this is another emblematic incident in which the Chinese authorities are portraying the ongoing gross human rights violations as praiseworthy achievements in an effort to push back counter-defensive narratives.
Okay, so I mean, there's forced sterilization in some instances. They get rounded up and forced to live in horrific conditions. I mean, what is the problem with the Uyghurs? Why has China been persecuting them for so long?
Well, the authorities are claiming that they are fighting so-called three evil forces that are extremism, terrorism, and separatism. And since 2017, 1 million or more Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other predominantly Muslim peoples were arbitrarily detained and forcibly disappeared, in most cases without any trials, and subjected to political indoctrination and forced cultural assimilation in so-called re-education centers. But it's important to note that the authorities admit these people have not committed any crimes. They just made some mistakes, yet nobody knows what those mistakes are. This happened after Chen Quango took the power in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region in 2016, and the government issued 75 signs of religious extremism as guidelines, which are extremely crude, these symbols of extremism, including like having a long beard or long hair or colored hair, or stopping smoking and drinking alcohol, abstaining from alcohol, or wearing religious clothing and similar things.
Okay, I mean, tell me more about, I mean, as you say, China hardly ever produces any sort of evidence of this so-called extremist behavior that they lump on top of the Uyghurs, and yet the international community sits by, does absolutely nothing.
In terms of evidence-wise, there were two major incidents which escalated ethnic tensions. The first one was in Urumqi in 2009. There was an upsurge in violence and around 200 people were killed. And in 2014, there was an stabbing spree in a train station in Kunming where around 30 people were killed. After that, the tensions escalated seriously. But the problem here is seeing an entire ethnic group of people as potential terrorists, potential extremists, potential terrorists. So without any indication of that, we are talking about millions of people here. And to put it simply, the authorities are afraid of non-Han Chinese culture, religion, identities, and they think the entire Uyghur ethnic population are threat to national security. And in terms of the response from the world, I mean, there are serious responses. In October, a few months ago, in October, there were 39 countries who issued a joint letter to express their grave concerns and urging China to allow immediate, meaningful and unfettered access to the region for independent observers to investigate what is happening in the region, including UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and relevant UN Special Procedure mandate holders. And other governments, they joined the letter later on with verbal endorsements as well. China, as Amnesty International, we have been asking China to do that as well. We believe that if there is nothing to hide, then journalists, academics, and members of UN Special Procedures mandate holders, they should be able to visit the area without any interference, with full access.
Okay, Alkan, let's leave it there. I mean, yes, so finally the international community says something, but it's just, quite frankly, not enough. Thanks for talking to us from Amnesty International.